Good afternoon, everyone. Now we will see one example problem on mechanical translational system. Now read out the problem. Write the differential equations and obtain the transfer function of the given mechanical system. You can see this is the given mechanical system, which is a translational system. So in order to find the transfer function for this type of systems, we need to check few rules. First, we need to identify what is the input and what is the output. Because in order to calculate the transfer function, we know that the transfer function is the ratio of Laplace transform of output to the Laplace transform of input. So that means for each and every system, we must understand what is the input and what is the output. For each and every system, we must understand the input and output parameters. Now, by seeing this system, we can determine what is the input and what is the output. See, this is the entire system. And here we are applying a force F of t on this entire system. So, applied force is the input for this system, right? When we apply a force on this system, then the system will move. Movement is nothing but displacement technically. So displacement can be represented by the letter x. However, we have two different displacements here. Here x1 is shown in the middle or across the block M1. And x is given at the point of input. That means x is the entire system output or entire mechanical system output displacement. F is the input and x is the output, where x1 is the internal displacement. Okay. Now we got the what is input and what is output for this particular system. Input is f of t, output is x of t. So the Laplace transform of input and output will become x of s by f of s. X of s is the output, right? So for the Laplace, by applying the Laplace transform, it will become x of s and the input will become f of s. So we need to obtain x of s by f of s. This is first rule. And second rule, in order to obtain the transfer function, we must derive the differential equation. And how do we derive the differential equations? And how can we know how many differential equations will exist for a particular system? Simply, we know the KVL, KCL rules. Likewise, here also, we can easily identify the number of differential equations by observing the given mechanical system. Look at here. In this mechanical system, we have two masses. So the number of differential equations strictly depends upon mass elements. In our problem, we have two mass elements. That means we can get two differential equations. So if we have three, then we can have three differential equations. So based on the number of mass elements exist in that mechanical system, the differential equations can be determined. Okay, this is second rule. So based on these two rules, we can simplify and we can calculate the transfer function of this given system. Okay. And first, in order to obtain the transfer function, we need to obtain the differential equations. These differential equations can be written across the masses. So across M1, we need to write one differential equation, and across M2, we need to write another differential equation. Okay. So how we can write these differential equations? First, across M1, how we can write across M1? So for that, we need to draw the free body diagram of mass M1. You can see here, this is the free body diagram of mass M1. and there are a lot of forces acting on mass m1. How these forces can be estimated? How do we know these many of forces acting on m1? By seeing this diagram, we can clearly understand what are the forces acting on or affecting m1. How? Let's see here. This is m1, right? So m1 itself have opposing force, which is f suffix m1. So this block will have one force itself, which is opposing force f m1. So this is f m1. We know how to write m1 element force, which is m1 into d square x1 by dt square. In the previous class, we have seen how we can write this equation across the m1. So fm1 is the force due to the m1. And you can see the k1 is connected to m1 directly. So that means fk1 force will also be there on m1. Second force is fk1. And the third force, you can see between this is reference point, which is a fixed point. Between m1 and reference point, we have another force, that is b1, which is a frictional force or dash pot. So b1 is the friction that is acting on m1, right? So this is third force on this block. So first force is fm1, that is due to m1. Second force is k1, because the k1 is directly connected to m1 gather. So that means fk1. And third force is fb1, because b1 is the friction between m1 and the reference point. So fb1. Three forces we already got. And now look at this side. This side we have dash pot b. So the force due to b will also be there. So fb. And the force due to this spring constant k, which is also directly connected to this m, which is fk. See here, fk, right? So total, how many elements are connected to the m1? The internal force of m1 is 1, force due to b1 2, force due to k1 is 3, force due to b is 4, force due to k is 5. So total, how many number of forces are acting on m1 directly? 5 forces. And all these 5 forces are opposing forces only. All these 5 forces are opposing forces only. There is no applied okay. So for each and every mass element, we must draw the free body diagram. So 5 forces are acting on m1. So we know individually what are those equations, and according to the Newton's second law, all the opposing forces must be added. All the opposing forces must be equal to all the applied forces. We know here there is no applied force on m1, direct force. There is no directly applied force on m1. So that's why applied force is 0. But the opposing forces, we are having 5. Force due to m1, force due to b1, force due to b, force due to k1, force due to k. So we know how to write m1 equation. We know how to write b1 equation. We know how to write a b equation. We know how to write k1 equation, and we know how to write fk. But however, you need to observe one thing here, that is b and k are experiencing 2 displacements. See, this is one side of b and k. Both are not fixed. They are connected to a mass but not to the reference point. That means they will have a displacement of x1 in this leg. Similarly, the other leg, this side, you can see this is also connected to m2, which is not a fixed point. That means this leg will experience a displacement of x. So B and K are connected in between x1 and x, which means these two elements will directly experience two displacements. X1 and x, both the displacements are experienced by B and K. But here K1, B1 will not experience two displacements, because you can see K1 is directly, one end of the K1 is directly connected to reference point, and one end of the B1 is directly connected to reference point. So only single displacement. But in the case of B and K, you can see the both ends are not connected to reference points. That means it will experience two displacements. Similarly, K also. So in the previous class, we have seen how to write the force equation for the two displacements, right? Now you can see the force due to, opposing force due to B is B into d by dt of the difference between the two displacements. And the difference between two displacements means whether it is x1 minus x or x minus x1. Now we are at m1 position. So at m1, what is the displacement? x1. So we must give priority to the x1 because we are at m1 now. So we need to give priority to the x1. So the force equation will be B into d by dt of x1 minus x for fb. Similarly for fk, it is k into x1 minus x, because now we are at x1. So substitute all these equations according to the Newton's second law and equate it to 0, because there is no applied force on F. Applied force F on M1 directly. So substituting all those equations here, we'll get a differential equation 1. Let us say this is differential equation 1. Now apply Laplace transform on both sides. Take Laplace transform on both sides. S square x1 of s, because we are converting it T domain to S domain, Laplace domain. So here small case, here uppercase. Don't remember this one. Sorry, remember this one. Sorry, remember this one. For lower case, it is in time domain. For uppercase, it is in Laplace domain. So second order derivative, in the place of second order derivative, we can get s square. And B1 is a constant, and first order differentiation will give s into x1 of s plus B into s into x1 of s minus x of s plus k1 into x1 of s directly, because there is no derivative part here, so we can directly get x1 of s. And here also k into x1 of s minus x1, sorry, x1 of s minus x of s equal to 0. We need to simplify this equation for x1. Why? Because in the given system, the output is x, the input is f of t. We need to eliminate this x1. For doing that, I am simplifying this Laplace equation to calculate the x1 coefficient or x1 term. Now this is, after simplifying this, we can get x1 is equal to this one. Name this as equation number 2. This is our equation number 2, right? So we have done for mass m1. For mass m1, we have done it. Next, at mass m2, we need to draw a free body diagram again. Now look at the diagram. How many forces are acting on m2? Let us see. See, the input applied force is acting. So here applied force is 1. Next, the force due to friction B2, which is second force, opposing force, and the force due to its own, which is Fm2, the force due to K, which is Fk, the force due to B, which is Fb. So total how many? One applied force, 1, 2, 3, 4 opposing forces. Total 5 forces will be acting on M2. One force is applied force, remaining 4 forces are opposing forces. So that means total 5 forces are acting here, 4 opposing forces and 1 applied force. You can see the direction, opposite forces and applied forces both are having opposite directions. Both are having opposite directions. According to our Newton's law here, we need to write all the opposing forces must be equal to the applied force. This is our Newton's law. However, we know what is Fm2, Fb2, but coming to Fb and Fk, which are connected in between M1 and M2, experiencing two displacements, x1 and x. Both displacements are experienced by B and K. So that means what? We need to write or include the resultant displacement of these two, which is x1 minus x or x minus x1. But now we are at the M2 place, right? So we must give priority to x1. Sorry. We must give priority to x, because at M2 x is the displacement. So we need to give priority to x. That means we need to write x minus x1 this time. Here also x minus x1. Okay. Now substitute all these equations here and apply Laplace transform to this above equation, which is equation number 3. Let us say this is equation number 3, and apply Laplace transform to equation number 3, and we will get this and simplify it like this. However, you can see here x of s term will be there, x1 of s term will be there, and f of s term will be there. But in order to achieve the transfer function, we need in output by input. Input is f of s. Okay. Output is x of s. Then what about this x1 of s? We need to eliminate this x1 of s. How we can do? Already we have calculated x1 of s, which is equation number 2. So this is equation number 2. We have calculated this x1. Substitute this equation in the place of x1 here. Here we are having x1, right? So substitute that x1 value here. So substituting x1 of s from equation 1 in this equation. So this entire equation will become like this. But what we need to do? We need to calculate the transfer function. Transfer function means output by input. So output is x of s. Input is f of s. So from this equation, we need to write x of s by f of s. So in the next slide, we will see that. You can see here, initially, LCM has been taken. For these two terms, x of s take common and do LCM here. We will get like this. And x of s by f of s, bring this f of s this side and this term this side, you will get the final transfer function, which is x of s by f of s, that is equal to this entire term. Maybe this term is very big to look, but it is very simple to solve. Okay, this is how we can get the transfer function of mechanical translational systems.